What's going on social media? Hey, I forgot. In the U.S., we have what's called daylight savings, but it doesn't apply to the rest of the world. So
Oh, it
we're
does. It
actually,
applies to the northern hemisphere.
yep. But no, so in Asia it doesn't apply, but in the U.S. it does. We're an hour early if you're in the U.S. But hey, starting next week we go because of Jeremy and Eldrick's schedule. We go move it to 7 in the U.S. So for Central Standard Time. Hey, but we're live, and today I want to talk about. We're still on the SME talk. And I want to just talk about what we look for personally as a consumer.
Mm.
Yep. On your buyer's journey, what are things Jeremy, Eldrick, and myself, what do you look for either in a service or a product, especially in regards to online? If someone makes a connection with you online, what are things you look for to be interested in having a conversation with, this person selling the product or the product itself?
Right. So let's just frame it right. It's more for personal purchase, B2C or B2B.
So all three.
All three. Okay.
So
Funny
we can
you.
start. Let's start with personal purchase because
Okay.
we're going into the holidays. People are buying personal purchases for
Yep.
gifts. What are things you look for in personal purchase?
I wait for Singles Day 11/11, which is today. It's funny you pick this topic because today's the biggest global shopping day, right? Bigger than Cyber Monday, Black Friday. Who knows what's going to be like this year in terms of purchase amount. But jokes aside, personally, I think when it comes to personal buying purchases, it will have to really be the need. Yeah. Whatever you're looking for, if there's no need for it, then it's just a want. Yeah, I know we have lots of wants too, but usually I think what would trigger a purchase desire really would be if you need that item or not. I mean, personally, personal purchases. And then of course, one of the big factor that sometimes makes you want to look for things that you might not need, but you might desire or want to instead, will be big shopping days like today, 11/11. And in Asia, there is all this whole series of shopping days online created by all these online platforms, right? So there's 11/11, there's 12/12. 1st of January is 1/1. I don't think anything happens there, but that will be like New Year's Day sale. Then there's 2nd of February, 3rd of March, 4th of April, 5th of May. You get the idea. All this because of the start of 11/11, right? Then we have at this year-end shopping season, Cyber Mondays, Black Fridays. So all these days are really, programming consumers and shoppers alike to really want to look for things to buy, not necessarily because they need them, but because there's a huge discount and there's this thing called fear of missing out, right? If you don't buy it now, if you want to buy it later, then the price will be higher. So really for me, two things, whether if I need the item or not, and if there's a discount, I might shop for things that I do not need but maybe want to have. So that's personal. That's the personal part for me. Maybe we go to Aldrich first before we talk on the business part.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, I don't really buy things. I have very low expectation in terms of life. So probably laptop, probably working tools, probably few. I don't know. I mean, I buy a lot of books, but these days books can be pretty cheap depending on the format.
Mm-hmm.
Depending whether you want to read it online, an ebook on your Kindle, or you want a physical copy. So that's one. Other than that, not really. Running related equipment, running shoes, yeah. Do I buy them on discount? No, I buy them when my current pair of shoes is gone. Uh, yeah, so I don't really think about it in that way. I buy financial assets. Do I buy all the time? Not really. I wait for the right time to buy it. So whenever there's a crash or what is a good time, and then governments around the world will help to push the markets up, which is always a good thing. Other than that, I don't really think so much about buying because I don't have a lot of things to buy in the first place. Singles Day, things like that. It's bewildering to me. Like, but no. So it doesn't really apply to me that much. Initially, when I look at this live stream topic, I initially thought that it was oriented towards a SME or like a digital media agency, thinking about what the buyer is trying to get and what the seller is trying to get in terms of like how does the seller sell more? How do we get the buyer to buy more? But we are talking about a
We're going there. We're going there.
retail-
We're going
there,
there.
we're going there.
We're still going
We're going there.
So
We're going there.
But this is a good. But I want to let's frame it more. What I mean is, what do you look for, you, Eldrick, you and Jeremy, in regards to buying something? Okay, let's say you have a need. Like, hey, Eldrick, it's time for your new shoes. Do you look at reviews? Do you research? Do you look at the brand's website? What is that buyer journey look like for both of you? Right?
Right. Yeah, of course. I think for most people, when you need to really buy something, you fall back on your past experiences with the brand that you're familiar with. I think that's the first step because the trust is there. Trust the brand. If you don't have the personal experience with the brand before, then it really falls back on to what top of mind awareness, what you can recall. You maybe have heard of a certain brand that somebody mentioned before, or you've seen advertising or online when you're browsing, whatever that is. So that's the second thing that will get your sort of what you call attention, right? If you have none of these two experiences, then if it's a purchase that is something that is personally high involvement, for example, like health products, things you're going to eat, vitamins and things like that, or I don't know, facial stuff, affect how you look, high involvement personally, then maybe you ask for referral from friends. Hey, I know you have this something that you bought. How is it? How's the experience? What brand is it? How much does it cost? That kind of a thing. So I guess it's like, these three things before you even go into researching a certain brand or a certain item. Lacking of these three, what do you call it? Introduction to a brand, you will just probably hop onto the web and just do your Google search, right?
Yeah.
And see what pops up, right? So that's why SEO and SEM is very important.
Because I think when you guys we're talking about products, right? Consumables, items for like the home or for our self-indulgence. Like for me, I'm similar to Aldrich. I don't buy much stuff, only if I need it when the time comes. But of course, then I'm married and my family, they buy stuff, right?
Yeah. Most of the time we buy stuff for the family. Yeah.
Yeah.
When things get broken.
You should get Jennifer here.
I know. But I am totally I'm a researcher and I am huge on best price. So I mean I like when it comes to be consumable because I am very savvy with marketing and the internet. So I will even, like example, our TV broke, right? Our flat screen. So I'm one of those people, I will be at the store and I will be Googling on the internet.
Okay, I perfectly imagine you doing that.
On Amazon or whatever and go, hey, Jennifer, we're leaving. This is not a good price. Or I'll price match it or, I'll find while the salesman's talking to me, I'm like, dude, can you match it? If you can't match it, I'm leaving because, it's the exact same TV, but yours is $300 more,
We all do that. It's a practice called showrooming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you should consider that all Jennifer wanted is a shopping experience.
I don't believe in experience.
Since we're talking about TVs, right? yes, price is one way to go, but for me personally, I can, go and check out different models and take a look at them because
Yep,
you
I'm
need
the
to
same
see it
way.
to compare.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'll go like back and forth and, really think about it, sleep over it and look at another brand, etc., etc., go online and do research.
Well, and
Yeah.
it goes down to I agree with you. It's either recommendation from like a close source, like a friend, a
Yep.
client,
Yep.
or top of mind something I come across. But I also personally, packaging does matter to me, look and feel as well. I think nowadays, if I feel a brand doesn't invest in their packaging, then it really makes me kind of question. So same thing when I talk about packaging, it's not just a product, right? Even a restaurant, and Eldrick brought up, Jennifer and the shopping experience, right? So the experience is important too. Is the place clean? I am willing to pay a little more sometimes if I feel like, hey, it's a better dining experience or it's a cleaner atmosphere, even though maybe the product's not as good, right? So it just depends, right? So I think these are all valid points when it comes to product purchasing or the buyer journey. Yep.
Your
You see,
family
in the past,
will riot if you always eat in the basement, right?
but see, in the past, we rely a lot on the in-store experience, right? We have questions on certain products. Since we're talking about TVs, we'll refer to the salesperson in the store to
Yep.
ask questions about, can this connect with this? How blah blah blah, all the technical stuff, techno mumbo jumbo. But now with the internet and YouTube, we go there for reviews and influencer recommendations, sponsored or not, otherwise, not just for TVs, right? For food, travel, anything at all under the sun that you want to buy, there will be an influencer out there that can do a review, right? Like this very famous one, which probably appeal to you, Kevin, right? Unbox therapy, because you are interested in packaging. They do all these unboxing videos.
I haven't watched any.
You don't? Okay. So those are an additional source of information, especially when you are clueless and then you go and search online and then you go look for reviews. Then it boils down to whether you trust these people's reviews or you watch a few more and get, if you have time, right? Watch a few more comparisons and form your own opinion.
I don't trust influencer reviews.
But they do
'Cause I
declare
know
they are
they're
sponsored or
getting
not.
paid.
Oh no! Sometimes they say that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes they say that. We are being sponsored by this, but we maintain editorial integrity. The views are our own, and then you take it with a pinch of salt.
Yep. No, this is good. And then now let's dive in and move on to what Eldrick's talking about. When it comes to SME, right? So, to warm it up, we talk about purchasing products. What about the buyer journey in regards to purchasing a software or, looking into something for your organization? What does that look like? Because nowadays there's just so much. We're bombarded with so many salespeople, pitches, and inbox salesmen. How do you differentiate from others, from the salesperson's end? Because I know Eldrick, even you, Jeremy, you're in marketing, and myself, right? How do we separate ourselves from other people? And then what do we look for when we're making a purchase or connecting with a resource ourselves?
Okay. From a sort of MNC perspective, right? Because I'm in marketing, I'm like the buyer. And let's just take a simple example. Corporate gifts. Every company needs them, right? And usually for corporate gifts purchase, you will deal with probably SMEs, yeah? So what are the things to look for? You usually, because of procurement requirements, you might have to stick to a certain buyer list. Yeah, but that aside, I think what's important for me, not so much of price actually. Although you try to strive to get the best price, best value for the company, but I think to me what's more important is the salesperson, and in particular, the salesperson response time. That's very important. Of course, it still depends on what you buy. Okay, corporate gift is one thing. In the not so long ago past, when we do things like trade shows, trade events, response time is also very important, and that will come through to the person who is managing you on a day-to-day basis in terms of your direct contact with the company, whether that person responds fast enough for you. And when we call responsiveness, is also it also accounts for flexibility. Yeah, in terms of whether the person can be flexible enough to do things for you, things you don't anticipate, and they're willing to do it for you, despite it not being in the contract, for example. Yeah, I think that's more important than whether you are buying from a big brand or not. But of course, it still depends on what you're buying. If it's a, I don't know, $1 million software for your company that runs the entire backbone of the company, you definitely want to buy from a reputable brand. But I also do think that if you are looking for a reputable brand, but if the salesperson doesn't respond fast enough to you, you might hop and look for a different brand and buy from someone else. So I really do think that for B2B, the key is the salesperson that you are interacting with, and how good the salesperson is in terms of responding to you. Because even if let's say if you send an inquiry online and nobody gets back to you after 2 days, 3 days in this internet age, are you ever going to buy from the company?
Gone.
You're not, right? Yeah, it's gone, right? You expect somebody to call you like within I don't know, half hour, or at least within that day. Yeah. So I think that first impression is really there. How fast the person responds to you, or rather the company responds to you, is a good indicator and will really capture me in terms of my interest. Yeah, if I send the same inquiry and say, hey, please get back to me by today, and only one company come back, I'm going to buy from that company. Yeah, if 3 of them come back, then I'll probably maybe consider the one that comes first, and then through the interaction, you will do your determination on who to go with, gut feel, because trust and credibility has to be built, either talking to the person or meeting the person, that kind of thing. So that's for me for now. If I think of anything later, I'll chime in, but that's for me for now.
You, Eldrick?
If I'm a buyer and we're talking about B2B, I can be very difficult in terms of buying, but not because of price points. I mean, there will always be a budget. I want to be realistic. I want to be realistic. There will always be a budget, and there will always be a constant war of attrition between sellers and buyers, because the natural mode that sellers will jump into is, shit, he has a limited budget. Okay, we have to pitch value. So value. Look for the value. I'm saying this because if you're running an SME, forget it. You're better off focusing on understanding what the client needs are and try to find ways to get into what the budget range of your prospect is. From there, scope it out. From there, you scope it out. So if you manage to, through your initial meeting, your initial catch up, let's say your very first 45 minutes, if you get into the budget kind of question and discussion, and you got into the range, so if the prospect tells you the range of, let's say, 1,000, and you're thinking, shit, I was thinking that he can give me a $3,000 sale, so let me pitch more value to him so that he'll buy 3,000 for me, it will never happen. So forget about it. Forget about it. Think how you can be more flexible in your offering, to get and secure that 1,000 and more. You can push, but from 1,000 to 3,000, you're not going to get it. From 1,000 to 2,000, you're not going to get it. But if you try to push a little bit from 1,000 to 1,002 to 1,003, you have a chance. So be realistic, because everyone is going to come with a budget, and the budget that B2B companies have, they are allocated.
Yep.
There's nothing the person can do. So if you keep making that person's life very miserable because he has to sit there for 60 minutes and listen to you talking about endless value proposition. Guess what? That's the only 60 minutes you're gonna get, and that's it. You're done. So for me, it's, price point is not that important, but be realistic. And I particularly like my counterparty to just ask that question upfront. That would be great. It just shows that you're confident. It just shows that you understand. And then for me, I have a very difficult requirement. That is, if you can actually articulate what I'm thinking without me telling you. So if you can articulate to me, like, why I'm here meeting you and why I'm buying this in the first place, 80% I'm buying with you already because you understand. And what that if you can understand me in our first meeting that we have never met before, and you can say like, oh, Eldred, I understand why you are here because you probably have this, and then you're looking to enhance this, and this is what our product can do without much invasion into your business process and getting your users to learn a new skill and things like that. So when you start going through the list and it hits the concerns that I have, first, I'll be very impressed because I've not said a thing. Second, and the most important one, is that it shows me you are extremely experienced in what you're doing. Let's face it, hard work matters. As if you are doing customer front end work, regardless whether you're sales, you're pre-sales, you're marketing, you're BD, you're affiliate marketer, doesn't matter. If the moment you meet a lot more people across a wide spectrum, you can synthesize all the commonalities. You'll use that as a pitch. You can connect. And you build trust from your hard work. So one point as an offshoot from that, based on just to address what Jeremy is saying, Jeremy and I regard Jeremy as a very close friend. There are certain times where there are certain things where I reach out to him because I think there's something that he can think about, he can offer, but it's contextual. I trust him. We talk about things that are pretty deep personally, but I will not ask him questions that I know I cannot take his response. So I think we need to be contextual. I'll give you an example. I will never ask Jeremy when I want to buy running shoes because I know he doesn't run. So even if he gives me 5 websites to do research, I won't bother.
A6. I wear A6 and I do run twice a year.
That's precisely the point. I won't bother. So that's how I think about it in terms of the buyer journey. And by the way, the buyer's journey is such a sophisticated way of describing why we buy things and what's but I think it's just look at what exactly you need and whether the person selling can understand what you are saying. That's all. Although it's very difficult. But I think when it comes to 6-digit purchases, you have to.
I think for me, it's really same as Eldrick. I think it's very important. He said Jeremy plays basketball sometimes.
Once a year too.
That's awesome. But I think I'm the same way. I think if I was sold for my company, the first thing I want to see if the salesperson or the person contacting me, did they do their homework, prior to wasting my time. If I'm going to get...
know about your organization.
Yeah, I'm busy. And if you already know, hey, this is a software product, I already share with you, this is my need. I'm telling you what I need. And if you can't answer, I don't want to hear a bunch of fluff or show me a presentation of 5 other features that I didn't even ask. I am very straightforward. So if I'm buying something for J29, I will tell you, hey, I'm looking for software that does X, Y, Z. And I'll tell them, hey, I'm pretty busy, and I'm going to give you 30 minutes. Can you address these 3 things? you know. And if they show up and they start with "Hi, sir," and then they start going into all this other things on the software, and I go, "I already told you exactly what I wanted. Those 3 features. Can you do it? You know, why are you adding all this other fluff? I don't care. You know." And then they tell me, end up like, "Oh, we don't even have that feature." Tell me up front. You know, so I'm like that even with buying a car. A lot of times I go, "Hey, I don't have much time. I know I sold cars before, and I know, hey, I'm looking for XYZ. I'm telling you exactly what I want. So if you listen, I'm like a very easy sell because I'm telling you, if you have this, I'm gonna buy it. And usually I even give them the budget. This is my budget because I know for me, my ideal client. And so if you're someone that wants to use my service, tell me. Like, be upfront with me. I love clients that go, "Hey, Kevin, before we start, my budget is $3K a month. What can you do for me?" Awesome. Then I already know in my mind, okay, with $3K for marketing, here's your lowest hanging fruit. We can do XYZ, right? And I agree with Eldrick. There's no point in wasting anyone's time. Let's be upfront here, especially in today's market, right? There's so many products, there's so many services, and I think the human element is really important. I think the salesperson have to be in tune with listening. You know, being able to really hear, like, I'm asking you, this is my need. This is what I want. And I think there's very few salespeople that are listening, you know, because they're so focused on products and features. You know,
because that's what they're trained to pitch, the standard script, right?
Yep. And then the seasoned salespeople, those guys are good. They can read you. They know, you know, exactly. And they start asking questions. And by the time you're done with the meeting, you're selling yourself. Oh yeah, I need this. I need, you know.
Right. Correct.
You know.
That's the differentiation between a good and a not so good salesperson. They listen more. They let the client talk more than they do, but they ask the right questions to get even more out of the client, and then they can form that pitch at the end to hit the points that you know that are bugging you, the pain points. Yeah, we would say, and that's how you tell a good one from a newbie salesperson.
But I do agree, rapport, relationship, and example, J29, we build a lot of websites, right? But today I was just talking with my team. I said, how many clients have we signed that's never went to our website at J29? And they all, majority of my clients that sign up with us have never looked at my website. I'm just being honest, right? They reach out to us, contact us. They never look at our case study or portfolio, never ask for our work, and they sign with us, you know? And I feel that's where I think the relationship aspect and building rapport with your clients. I think people, human nature, if we feel we can trust someone, and like Eldrick said, you know someone who's seasoned and they know what they're doing. If you're around that person, it's easy to go, I'll do business with you, you know? Because I feel we live in a day and age where, okay, I hate pitch decks. And everyone that's on my team knows that. I mean, you know, have we done pitch decks before? We have in the past. I stopped doing them. My document is a one-pager. It looks like I'm selling IT software. You know, it's XYZ, your investment, and that's how much you're spending. Because I feel no one cares about anything. They look at investment first, you know, and then what's the ROI I can get from this, you know. So I can put in, like a lot of marketing agencies, they do so much fluff. I'm in a very fluffy industry, okay? It's all about like pretty pictures and pitch. People spend 4 hours on pitch deck, and I'm like, man, 4 hours pitch deck, and then you sell something for $2,000 a month. It's not worth it. You know, if you don't land the project, then you just spend 4 hours on a very pretty pitch deck, you know? And so I am very big on what are the facts, you know? And I think people are getting smarter today. I mean, used to, Eldrick, you can probably attest to this. software companies were the same way. They'll show you these like decks on like products and features. But nowadays, people just want to know, can your software do X, Y, Z? And how much am I spending? And then, what's my ROI if I use it, or whatever, so.
Can you do XYZ? If yes, show me, and then all the demo will come in, because that builds credibility. And then
and maybe software is the worst, right? You have to suffer through their 1 hour demo. Some of these guys talk so much, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can we get to okay, next.
And then after sitting through everything, it's like, oh, can this integrate with that? As, oh no, we can't do that integration. Or yes, you can integrate it at X amount more. And then, oh gosh, I just wasted all my time.
Sometimes like I'm just trying to stay awake. I'm like, oh, that's when you turn off your Zoom camera.
I think what you mentioned, Kevin, is something that's very prevalent in the tech space. Bracket software.
Yep.
Let's say software sales or software pre-sales. So whatever that I've gone through previously, I do the exact reverse. So these days when I meet prospect for the first time, I do have the pitch deck in my back pocket, but I will always try to rely on the conversation.
Yep.
And if the conversation goes well in the first 10 minutes, usually the need for the pitch deck will go away. And I'm not interested to use the pitch deck because it's very one way. It's using a pitch deck. If I can draw a parallel to the influencer world, social media world, it's as if it's like those personal branding posts that has gone wrong. Personal branding posts that has gone wrong, they have one commonality. I'm good. I'm successful. Now, there are many reasons why people do that. I think it's because they interpreted the technique of visualizing wrongly. Because the technique of visualization teaches us, or rather what Napoleon Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich taught us, is you have to think, you have to be convinced that you are successful before you can act. And then you have to act successful in order to be successful. Okay? But this is very internal. This is very internal. But now people are they are talking and telling everyone else that they are that successful. So that to me is totally off. Like, yes, you can take 30 minutes for yourself, visualize every morning, when you do your yoga meditation, that, okay, in 5 years' time, I can do this. But if you write it in your post today and say that I'm a billionaire, I'm a millionaire, I can do this, I can do that, I'm a Elon Musk, I'm a two, I'm like, hey, dude, you're deluded. So back to the pitch, I like to rely on conversations. I like to rely on what I understand from companies in that sector or industry to carve out, an understanding of what they are facing, and then from there, the question that I like to ask will always be things like, so how do we move on from here? So how do we move on from here, right? Because everyone has a different path that they have in mind, but the most important one is to choose the one that we can work together. Demos, I do them too, but I do it in a very specific way. I don't do generic demos anymore because I think that as the both of you mentioned, it can be a waste of time. I totally understand it, because even preparing for the demonstration, creating test data, going through the process, and then as you press a button, you say something. You press a button, you say something. That takes practice. So I don't really do the generic ones anymore. So usually what happens is if I can, I pre-record the whole thing into a video, and then I snip. So I'll have all these video MP4s with me. So as we talk, and I realize that, oh, you're interested in let's say the procurement, how to be more efficient in your procurement, and also then I'll just tell them, this is something that the software can do, and I do have a specific video on how it's being done. I was the one who shot the video. I did this, so let me just play. Just take a look. It's 3 minutes long. This is what. Then after that, we talk on the video, and then if you want to have a more in-depth kind of understanding of the product, we can arrange for it next week. But you have to let me know. You have to let me know what you are using those features for. But I'll show it to you. This is how the product can do. Give me your use cases so we can make it relevant. No one cares about the product. I mean, I'm saying this, and a lot of the sales professionals in the tech space, they are going to ding me, and I don't really give a shit about it, because if you continue to keep doing your pitches, 1 hour pitches, 90-minute pitches, you're gonna feel great, invincible. I know this and that, but if the client doesn't buy for you, the client doesn't buy for you. Period. End of story. Right? If they don't pull out their pen and sign on the sheet of paper, say all you want. I mean, say all you want, but if I'm your boss, I'm not listening. Where is the signature on the dotted line? Don't have? Go back. That's all. Period. I'm sorry. So I don't see the point. You're just wasting time.
And it's quite easy to fall back on the pitch deck because it's where you're safe and comfortable. You have that script, or you've done it like 20 times.
A lot of things are guaranteed, including your clients that's going to fall asleep. It's guaranteed too. It's boring.
Yeah, it is boring. And I agree. Like, I want people to take the time and customize our meeting according to my needs, right? Because it's very relevant. And I think it's the same thing with marketing, right? Why are you talking, if someone come to you and they're asking for something very specific, and I see this done with a lot of younger salespeople, and they're like trying to sell them. If the client has nothing to do with, like, in my space, for example, if TikTok's not even relevant, why are you giving statistics of TikTok? It's unnecessary, it's not even relevant to that client, and I've seen big agencies do these pitch decks, and they just sell, oh, this social channel has XYZ, this social channel has, it's like, who cares? Like, what's relevant to that client?
Correct.
Correct. And I think a lot of entry-level type salespeople, they're following the way they're trained in their script. First is understanding, listening to the client, and then really being able to turn your mind to customize the conversation according to what they're looking for.
Exactly.
And what cracks me up the most is, too, when I'm ready to buy. Like, having the signal, like, I'm ready to buy. Like, there's been times I'm in a sales meeting.
It's time to shut up.
And I'm ready to buy. And I even tell my employees after they get off, the reason I ended up not buying is I was ready to buy, but the guy kept talking for another 40 minutes. and then it pissed me off. And I'm like, this guy can't even listen. I don't want to buy it anymore.
Hey, Kevin, just for the audience sake, how do you show the signal that you're ready to buy?
That was the question I had in my mind.
How would you show that signal to the seller?
Yeah, I'll say something like, "Hey, what's the next step?" Or hey,
that's the hint for the salesperson to close, yeah?
Yeah, it's the next step, dude. Like, hey, I'm ready. Hey, this looks great. What's the next step?
No, you don't know everything yet. Let me give you another 10 features.
There's one more feature. Or, hey, let me show you this other thing, Kevin. No, it's like, just show me after I sign. Once I have the software, you can show me. Why are you still showing?
They think they are Steve Jobs. Like, oh, one more thing. One last thing.
No, there's a lot of people like that. Like, almost like they sell themselves out of the sale.
because it is decreed that in their standard sales pitch they need to touch all these points. That's why. I mean, we go back and talk about pitch decks. Yeah, I totally agree with what you say. You need to know the audience because in my work sometimes I get salespeople approaching me that, hey, can you help me do a pitch deck to the customer, right? So the easy way is to pull out something that's been standard approved by global and then pass it to them. Yeah, but that's not how I do it, because if somebody comes to me to ask for that, I will ask that salesperson and say, okay, who is this pitch deck for? Which company? Who is it going to be talking to? Is it the CEO or the store guy, or procurement, IT, or just the store operator? So there are all these considerations that you need, and the point is that even with pitch decks, it has to be customized to the meeting, to the audience. Whether you use it or not is another story, but in the approach that you do a pitch deck, you have to consider all this and not just pull something that's standard, because there's always something standard that is crafted by whoever, marketing department or corporate marketing department, that you can easily pull from. But the difficulty is in having that conversation with the customer beforehand, before that big meeting with their bosses, and knowing who we're up against and what they're interested to look at, right? If they don't want to see product B, you don't need to show them A, B, and C. Just show them product A that they asked for, right? So that's really the way, and you only find that out if you listen more than you speak.
That's good, because I think sometimes
they
too
show you B and C after A.
Yeah.
Reverse engineer. Yeah.
Or sometimes they show too much, and then they show too much where it drives the customer away.
Yeah, and I think one thing we need to talk about the buyer's journey, other than after the purchase, which is when everything starts. I think a lot of people neglect that. I mean, in terms of what you call after sales, or in big purchases for companies, right? The salesperson gets the deal, the customer signs off the dotted line, and that's it. The salesperson got the deal. Now it's not the salesperson's problem, but it's the implementation team's problem, it's the install team's problem, it's the engineer's problem to get it fixed, And I think that's where sometimes things fall apart, because in marketing we have this customer satisfaction thing called Net Promoter Score, NPS. Right, and for those who are not familiar with it, I think you are trying to determine the detractors from the advocates in terms of the customers, right? So for Net Promoter Score, I think you need to score 8, 9, and 10. The customer has to give you a score of 8, 9, and 10 on the question: would you recommend me to your colleagues, other customers, other friends? And I think that's my point I'm trying to make, is that the sale doesn't end with the sale. You need to delight the customer to the point that they will advocate for you, which means to the point that they will refer you to their friends who probably own businesses as well, right? So we talk about SMEs, right? And that's where you will really get businesses. People come to you instead of you go to them. That makes life easier. It boils down all to that credibility part. So closing the sale is not the end of the buyer's journey, because it's really just the start of how far you can go further with other companies and other customers. And you really need to have the end game in mind, which is delight the customer so well that they will advocate for you, talk about you on your behalf to their friends over dinner. Or I'm sure the customer will know, let's say the IT guy that you just sold to will have friends who are also in the IT industry, or people that they talk to in their informal groups or whatever. If they can speak your brand or talk about you on your behalf, that's a sale there, more than one sale.
Yep.
So we need to really think about that.
And I think too many people today in business, they look at the top of the funnel, and then they don't look at, hey, what happens after the sales, and then the nurturing of the client, right? And how do you build more advocates, right? And that's where you hear the success of Starbucks and Apple and Tesla and all those things, right? Because they're all about the entire cycle, the entire journey, the entire experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I like what you brought up, Jeremy, when it comes to marketing. I think a lot of SMEs forget it's more than acquiring the clients.
Exactly, yep.
It's also understanding, hey, the reviews that people leave behind. How's their experience after the sale? And if we're talking about software, how Did the integration process go smoothly? That's also the responsibility of the marketing department.
Yeah, and in bigger companies, they will have things what you call a customer success manager kind of person, whose job is to really keep pace with the customer, checking with them on a weekly basis or on a regular basis to really help them get more out of your software, for example.
Yep.
They will see with the customer also, how is your experience with the software? Is there other features that maybe you're not aware of, or what's your problem that you meet? And then from there they can show more
And
of the
that's
features.
something SMEs don't think about, and that's where your drip campaigns come in, right? A
Correct.
lot of people just focus on drip campaigns. You go sell them more stuff, upsell them. No, you don't need to. How about educating your client on your new products and feature, or how can they use it? For
Correct.
example, if you are, let's say you're an SME and just happens this is a cooking product. It's not always saying, hey, here's the lid or the oven that goes with it. But what about, hey, here's 5 recipes that you can utilize this pot for.
Yep.
To sell them on concepts and ideas. Or if you're a software company, hey, here's how XYZ other clients or your competitors have been using the software. Right?
Correct.
And that can all be created through not just newsletters, but your content, right? And that's where Eldrick talks about like Substack, right? Or people can subscribe to something that keeps coming, right? And you nurture your clients. It's not just nurturing through a human, but also nurturing through your content. And I think people forget that too, because a lot of times when you're an SME, you only focus on social media content regards to posting. But you don't think about, what about your existing customers? When you're posting for your organization or your brand, it goes farther than just selling on your posts. It's also creating ideas or concepts of how they can utilize your service or products. How can you gain credibility, And then have, things like Substack where they can actually sign up for, hey, if you want to learn more about how to use this product, or hey, look at how it's being utilized in the educational sector. Subscribe to this, right?
Here's a tip, or rather something I learned over the years on how you can, as an SME, write a customer case without writing a customer case. Let me explain how. Say for example, today I sold something to Audrey, right? So we both have LinkedIn profiles, right? So I sold something to Audrey, so I take some pictures of the whatever software installation or nothing, or just Audrey in front of his store or something, right? And then I just write, oh, thank you, Audrey, for your business for this XYZ product that help your company do ABC. And then just post it on LinkedIn, for example. So it's really not like a case study in full blown, and it's not really like bragging, but I think it's a way to. No, it's really to build up the credibility. And let's say
it's a clickbait with a specific target in mind, because even though you do not openly get me to write the testimonial for you, by doing that post and tagging me in that post, if I respond to it, you got the testimony. Right?
Exactly.
So knowing your game in advance means that when I see your post, I'll just scroll past. What can you get? What can you do to me?
So that's the thing. I need to tell you, hey, if you don't mind, I'll do a post of this. I'll expose you, and if you don't mind, you just engage with me and tell how good our service is.
Apart from the fact that you're writing it yourself now.
Correct, but the difference is that it's on social, right? It's a quick, I'll say quick and easy way to get exposure out there, especially SME, rather than talking to the customer. Just an example. Rather than talking to Audrey, hey, let's sit down and write a case study, 2-page, take some pictures. That one is, a bit longer process, photography and all that. So just a quick tip there for SMEs who are, looking to differentiate themselves, and at the same time, quick way to promote themselves. And you get that customer advocacy and the customer's reference, from the customer if they engage with you.
No, that's good. And so how important do you feel reviews are, Jeremy?
Reviews. You mean review of the company's products?
Yeah.
It depends on
I wouldn't
the person
even start the
reading
sentence
it.
with depends on.
It really depends because sometimes, okay, put it this way, yeah, I don't have that many reviews personally on my LinkedIn because I don't ask for them. I don't ask for them. I feel that if people are happy or they want to write, they will write. I will not ask for it. So why I say depends, I think it depends whether it's solicited or not solicited. But that only the person who gets reviewed know. Right.
You're talking about recommendations.
Recommendations, reviews, can go okay. Recommendations only go positive, right? Reviews can go both ways, yeah?
Yep.
Reviews can go both ways. So for me, if I want to buy something, I look for reviews. I always look at the ones that say nasty things.
That's how I am. I look at the negatives.
Right. Because we see what can go wrong. You know, if it's good people, let's say you go to Amazon, you see like 5 stars and like 70% is 5 stars. I'll look at the 1 star.
You can buy the good ones. You can't buy bad reviews. No one pays people to write bad reviews.
Yeah, surprised.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised, Kevin. You'll be surprised.
There will be people who pay for bad reviews.
You can actually get a pack. You buy a package of reviews, and then you can let's say you disseminate it to a group of 4 people. Okay,
Right.
with each person with multiple accounts. It's very easy to smell the tail because I'm in it. But I'll tell you how I found out because but that will be slightly later.
This is good. This is good.
So you can actually buy a package of reviews that consists of a few people, I say 4 to 5, each of them with multiple accounts. Okay. In order to make the review authentic, you can tell every one of them that for every 3 good ones you write 2 bad ones. Keep it real. And you can do that. Reviews are very important. I learned it, I think 3 years ago when I was trying to sell ebooks on Kindle. So the unspoken success of the algorithm which Amazon runs their ebooks is that the moment you throw out a campaign to say, okay, free download for the next week. Okay, free download for the next week. And after that, it will be $7.99, $10.99, $5.99. So within that week and within the first hour of running your campaign, as many reviews as possible will push that book up the genre.
The top.
Yeah. And you can keep it there for a longer time. Everyone knows it. So you think pods are unique to LinkedIn? People, you are naive. The reason I'm saying this is because I think most of us, we don't do enough. We don't have enough exposure because we want to have work-life balance. We want to have a quality life. We just want to, do our job and fuck off, go home, watch our TV, right? But in truth, all these things happen all over. I'm not surprised at all. So my point is very simple. I won't even start the sentence with depends on. I won't look at the review at all on websites. Now, when it comes to professional recommendations on LinkedIn, I see a different part to it. I will not read what is written, but I will see how many people will actually vouch for the person. Now that I will take, that I will pay attention to. Oh wow, there's actually like let's say if that person is a manager grade and then he has 7 CIOs or CMOs or CEOs that's willing to spend time to write something for that person, he's worthy of my attention, regardless of the content. I will not read the content because I know it's worse than the hyperinflation that US is facing now. Not hyperinflation, I mean inflation. I'm just being practical. I mean, like, we know the game. It would be naive if you don't know the game. I mean, like, yeah. So that's my view.
Yep.
Life is interesting.
So, Eldrake, since before we close tonight, right? Because it's already 9:03 where you guys are at. Okay.
10:03.
10:03.
10:03.
Yep. Yep. So, what about, have you seen the new LinkedIn? What is it? Everyone's asking me to subscribe to, is it a newsletter or something?
I think so. There's a lot.
No, it's a new thing. It's a LinkedIn thing, right? So in
feature,
your
LinkedIn feature.
Yeah, it's a new LinkedIn feature, and everyone's sending, which I haven't had much time to look at my inbox. I don't even look at it anymore. But I'm getting all these like subscribe to this, like it's internal to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yep, it's like a newsletter within LinkedIn that you can create. So I didn't know if you guys looked into
I
it.
don't know.
I've
don't
seen
know
a
about
lot.
it.
I've seen a lot recently. It's not very different from what they have. What they already have. I mean, like events, such as this event, attend this event. I'll just say this. Again, it's not unique to me. I've seen it before. Because of Twitter. Because when Twitter bought over Review is a newsletter platform.
Yep.
So when they bought over, basically, if you have a Twitter account and you have many followers, and you can now monetize your Twitter account by sending them newsletter subscriptions.
Yeah, and the feature is built in.
Now it's integrated because it's Twitter, and then they bought over a newsletter software. So now it's integrated. They are running on beta. So whatever LinkedIn is doing, in truth, I do think that LinkedIn is usually behind the curve. So like previously they had stories, right, and then they roll it back.
Yeah, they kill it. Yeah, nobody use it.
I mean, like, so I think a lot of people are trying to use it to see how it works to their advantage, and in truth, we have to find our own use cases. To me, when I was looking at it very briefly, because these days, I have a lot of things that I have to take care of. I will just look at it and I'll ask myself very simple questions like, what can I use it for? What is it that's in here that other newsletter platforms integrated with social media platforms cannot do? And then the last one would be like, okay, just keep it to these two. Like what do I get out of it? Is it still the personal branding pitch? Forget it. I mean, like that's behind us. So no, if I'm not convinced, I won't do anything. If I'm, and of course, on air, I'm just gonna say if I'm not convinced about it, I'm not likely to subscribe to any of those. So for those who spam me, I mean, like, thanks, but no. I'll be very honest. When I think about writing newsletters, I would want to read from the people who does newsletters really, really well. If I want to learn how to like do a breakthrough in terms of my medium writing, earnings, and audience who's reading my work, I will learn from those who write on Medium very well. So to me, I'll check it out. I won't just do it. I think it's not the way to go. And these days, there's just too many things going around. I don't want to spread out my energy unnecessarily. There's no point in doing it.
So I think to summarize tonight's conversation, what drives us three to buy, it has to do with, I think, if there's a need. Like if there's not a need, we're not gonna buy, right?
But we're guys. You should get Jennifer into the show.
I know. So if there's a need, and then if there's also relationships,
the person you buy from,
the person you buy from, right?
So before we close, Kevin, how does Jennifer get you to buy something that you don't believe in?
How does she?
That
That's
happens.
good. She doesn't. I'm a hard sell. She just go use my card, and then I get upset.
Bypass the.
She bypass.
Do it first and then ask for forgiveness. Yeah.
I don't think she asked for forgiveness. She bypassed altogether.
So you just put the bill. That's it.
Put the bill. That's it. Yeah.
That's good.
It's too easy.
Oh, that's good. That's funny.
She knows I'm busy at work, so she just bypassed altogether. So sometimes I don't even know on the bill until later.
Until
So-
later,
so-
the
Oh, what
delivery
is
comes.
this?
Yeah,
What's this?
so are you the kind where when you look at the bill from the supplementary card, you're like, what the hell is this line item? What's this? What's this? What's this? Are you the kind?
Oh yeah. Nah, yes, I do. I am pretty I keep tabs on, budget. So I mean, I'm pretty budget conscious. So
Yep.
yeah.
Me too.
But
Budget.
to be honest, she's actually pretty frugal too. I mean, she's not, Jen doesn't really spend on too much unnecessary items, So yeah, she does pretty good. Yeah, I think my kids want more stuff than my wife. So yeah.
Oh,
They're-
the kids one is easy. It's games,
Books.
more. No,
More Legos.
no. It has to do with like buying more coins to buy more things in the game shop.
The digital currency.
That's
Yeah.
True,
Yeah,
digital
buy-
currency, man.
Yeah, buy.
Yeah.
They're in the
what else?
metaverse.
Buy the special weapon, which
Yeah,
costs
correct.
$2.99.
I-
All
I
the
always-
$2.99s adds up at the end of the month. Like, what do you do?
Yeah,
You spend
that's when I
$100?
go, what the heck?
That's what
And
I tell
it's
my
kind of
kids.
funny because for a while I didn't know where all the costs was going, and somehow one of my Google accounts for the business somehow it was tied to my son. I think somehow I think Jen was looking at something on his iPad, and he was on the business account instead of his own Google account. So he logged into to play a game, and then all of a sudden I was like, why do I have all these Google payments? Like,
Line items, $2.99,
Yeah.
$2.99.
yeah. And then it was my son. He's playing like games.
I always tell my kids, don't use real money to buy fake money to buy fake things.
Yeah.
Don't use real money to buy fake things. Oh,
To
okay.
buy fake currency to buy fake things, yeah? As in virtual stuff.
But hey, this is great though. Before we end tonight, but think about it: the way we buy will completely change in the future.
Of course.
Because if it's all gamified, you
Yep.
think you're just earning things or trying to, have a bigger house in the metaverse or whatever. It's not real.
Nike, I think Nike announced that they're going to go into the metaverse, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to make what? Digital shoes? I don't know. Does that make your avatar run faster? I don't know.
I don't know. So
It's going to be a
Design-
weird world coming.
Design your own Sonic.
that's crazy.
So, yeah, you're right. It's going to be very, very different. A buyer's journey and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you're buying is all
Virtual.
So virtual. So anyway, hey, it was a great night, and thank you for the few people that hop on. But next week we might or we might not. I think Kelsey Lips might be joining us. So
Oh, she's cool.
What's
Yep.
the event?
so yep. So if she's trying to move some stuff, and we'll see. So we appreciate everyone, and thank you for joining us. So I need to let her know because of our daylight savings.
She's in Seattle, right?
How?
She's in
I think
Seattle?
she's in Las Vegas with Travis.
She was
Saw
in
on a
Vegas
post somewhere,
with
yeah?
Travis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So
to
I think they went to some kind of
Convention.
conference or convention. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, have a good night, everyone, and good morning for the rest of you. Later.
Later.
Bye. See you guys next week.